And a reminder that the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, will chair an emergency COBRA meeting tonight on efforts to tackle the ongoing unrest. Far-right rioters have targeted pubs and other businesses, and now healthcare workers have been reporting abuse and violence. GPs are even being advised to travel in groups and avoid areas where there is known or expected to be unrest. Let's speak to Dr. Waheed Arian, British doctor from Afghanistan, who works with the NHS. Waheed, good evening. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's good to speak to you. Now, we caught your tweet, which has gone really, really viral, to put it lightly, in the last couple of days. You say you're a doctor originally from Afghanistan. You're now proudly serving people of all backgrounds in the NHS. Despite the fear of violence against my faith and background, I won't be intimidated. The UK is my home. I will continue to help anyone who needs it. We shouldn't give in to racism. What is it that is specifically making you fear violence against you and your background?
Well, these are extremely dark days, not only for Muslims like myself or people of color like myself, but also for the British society as a whole. But the British values that I've come to know do not represent the violence that we see on our streets. And that's the one point I wanted to point out to people who've newly arrived in the UK as refugees or as migrants, coming here to make a better life for themselves, to give to the community, to the society, and also to innovate, to advance healthcare, education, law. In all sectors of the society, we have people from diverse backgrounds. In particular, in healthcare, we see 1 in 5 people who are coming from a different background, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with each other, serving our communities, regardless of their background, regardless of their faiths. And that's not just my commitment, but it's the commitment of all our healthcare workers and the majority of the people that I know who call themselves British. And those are the British values that I stand for very proudly, and I'll continue to serve our communities despite the threat of violence against myself as somebody who is from a different background.
Yeah. Is there advice for you and for your colleagues at this point on how you should be looking after yourselves?
Certainly, on one hand, we have to take caution, and there have been a lot of procedures. The NHS England has issued various tweets, has released statements for us to be able to look after each other, to be able to serve our communities. But on the other hand, I think we need to be careful not to lose hope. We have to stand shoulder to shoulder with each other. The purpose of the violence is to create fear. Sadly, this fear has been started for more than 2 decades, as far as I know, actually, from some sector of the politics, from some media sectors, as well as individuals. So it's not something new, but what we shouldn't lose is hope. Hope is really crucial for us. When I came to the UK here more than 2 decades ago as a refugee from Afghanistan, I had no family, hardly any education, about $100 in my pocket. But I brought in a lot of determination with me to pursue my dream to become a doctor, to give back to the community, to humanity. But on the other hand, for me to be able to realize that dream, I had to rely on the kindness of people. And I would like to point out that the small acts of kindness in the community are crucial, especially in dark times like this.
Yeah.
It's also, of course, the big steps that the government has to take. But as a community, we can come together to support people of color, to support people, especially Muslims, refugees who've come, to offer them a hand of support. For myself, people who used to smile at me on the streets, they would say hello to me, they would show me how to go to college or how to find a job. Those are all small acts of kindness that have contributed to who I am now as an NHS doctor, proudly serving my people, the British citizen.
In terms, Dr. Arian, of how you reflect on the positive message that you are bringing this afternoon of communities needing to come together and compassion is essential. Why do you think that message is not getting through? These rioters, 400 of them have been arrested. These rioters are on the streets expressing some sort of concern or belief somewhere in there that they think needs to result in violence in order that they be adhered, that they be paid attention. Why is that message of positivity that you bring, why is that getting lost?
Well, I published my memoir for this particular reason to tell the stories of refugees and migrants like myself who have lost everything in war to displacement, finding safety somewhere like in the UK, and then going on to achieve my dream and giving back to the society. So I'm not the only person, but there are millions of others. My memoir in the wars is a testament of that. But on the other hand, there have been many years where migrants have been scapegoated, where there has been a lot of fear-mongering, there has been a lot of negativity from certain politicians, from certain aspects of the media, and that has come to a tipping point now. I don't think it's something that we've just woken up to and has started recently. And the small undertones picking up on even the migrants as invaders, migrants as people who are taking their jobs away. And those sort of narratives have continued to become pretty norm. And that is very sad because ultimately people, they get their education from somewhere. So, and they have to follow certain role models. And this is where now we can start a new beginning when it comes to politics, when it comes to the media, when it comes to education, healthcare, in any aspect, to really try to promote more positivity, diversity, peacefulness, understanding each other's religions, and being able to to be respectful of different people's way of living.
Mm.
And of course, on the other hand, I do understand. I think there has to be border control, there has to be sovereignty, there has to be checks of people who flee war zones, who flee persecution. But the best way to find that out is to assess each individual claim on one hand. On the other hand, to see if people are coming here as migrants, they would like to contribute. You can assess them separately. But using blanket words, inflammatory words over years and years and years have come to this tipping point now.
Yeah. Dr. Waheed Arian, thank you very much. Thanks for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure to have.
Thank you. Dr. Arian is a British doctor who came to the UK from Afghanistan, who works in the NHS. Lisa says, listening to Dr. Arian, I could cry. Those rioting on the streets cast shame on us all. They are not who we are. That's how we started the programme as well this afternoon, considering what we see online on social media and how that is the minority being loud and being amplified. But perhaps that is in no way representative, in fact, of the majority.